Talkers. It's your back porch commentators coming to you from somewhere in Missouri, where a firm handshake means more than your signature, and a cold drink can help solve almost any problem. That's what we're planning to do here, bring you along on our journey to the answers to life's questions. You'll get a few facts and a lot of opinions, but remember, we're probably intoxicated and definitely full of shit. So pull up a chair and settle in while we explore some of those most thought-provoking questions, like why is a man bun a thing?
Hey everybody, here we are for episode 27. 27. B&G on the Rocks. I'm John.
My name's Frank.
Frank! You see where we got the B&G? You figure it out.
It's a use I name when I go to the bars.
Yeah,
You know, in
yeah.
Springfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing with this?
Where are you from? Name's Hank. I'm a Swedish transfer student. All I have is blonde hair and meatballs, yeah?
My name's Hank Hill, and I love
I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but, Mommy, where the hell's my whiskey? I'm just here for a blood convention.
Can you pull your cougar out, please? The gas is coming off of that.
So, amidst discussion here,
Yeah.
last week was a little bit of a blur.
Yeah.
But it was needed. It was well timed and needed, I think.
Yeah. So if you're listening to the audio, this is episode 27 now, right? So so
We're referencing to.
we are referencing
episode number
episode 25 and a half.
and 26. It's gonna
And
be
26. 26 will be audio though, so they'll
Right.
get that. But episode 25 and a half. is
You gotta go to the YouTube.
YouTube
page.
exclusive
Yeah, it's
because of my mistake. But
well, in all fairness,
technical difficulties.
we were already a few in.
We were.
And by few, I mean half a bottle.
Yeah, when the video started. Already down a little bit. But,
And you said you got a still of me tossing a bottle.
yes.
Which
Yes. That's
didn't dawn on me until we discussed it. I was like, I could have busted my stove door, a cabinet door.
Yeah.
I could have broke any number of things.
I
and
laughed.
at the time, it seemed like a good idea.
It was funnier than hell.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Shit happens, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So, we like to talk about what we're drinking.
Right. We're doing a throwback.
Kind of went back to the Four Roses.
It's smooth.
We're kind of cleaning off the cabinet.
Yeah, trying to get through a few bottles. What was it we were drinking last week that we got so shitty?
Captain Morgan.
It was Captain.
It was Captain. Normally I don't get that
Fucked up on it.
fucked up on Captain.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I could have had some, pirate sex.
Yeah.
I mean, not with you, obviously, but I would have been like, hey, want to see my Captain Hook, huh? Captain Morgan's no longer a Caribbean captain. He's a Mexican captain. Like, I'm just here to rape a
I
blunder.
better put a little Captain.
Da 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 da
Big
da
captain.
da da. Mom and Dad. Nobody's. Yeah, if you don't know Cheech and Chong,
Yeah.
you need to go watch that show. I don't know what you're doing with your life if you haven't seen a Cheech and Chong movie.
And if you haven't, go watch it and you'll find out you could do a lot less with your life.
Yeah, right. Whenever you think
Less
you're
is more.
Yeah.
Amen. Anyway, speaking of cleaning off the cabinet over there,
Right.
we had talked about was this infinity bottle? Is
An
that
infinity
what
bottle.
we're doing?
Yeah.
Infinity bottle. So, yeah, we were it was a few ounces of.
Yeah, it's like you take the
everything.
last few ounces of every bottle you drink and put it into this solitary container, so it's
Yeah.
mixing several different types.
I like it.
It'll either be really good
It's
or it'll get you really fucked up and you'll be,
Real
up
quick.
chucking on yourself or something. I don't know.
real quick. Yeah.
But yeah, we just had a few bottles there, and
Yeah.
well, what do we got so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6. about 9.
Yeah.
9 different types of whiskeys. So, and then as you
And a
drink
couple
it,
rums.
yeah, and then as you drink it down, like you have a little, you'll pour a little more in there, so it's constantly evolving. You'll
Yeah.
never drink out of the, and it's supposed to be the infinity bottle. So when it starts to get full, you drink it down about half, and then you start mixing again and drink that down. And so
Always.
potentially we could have whiskey 2 years from now still in the same bottle. When you
True.
think about it,
That's true.
which sounds like diarrhea. Is what it sounds like to me. Speaking of which,
Sounds like a fun Friday night.
how'd you like that chili?
The chili was delicious. It was great. Great going in. We'll see.
I have a feeling
Well,
that chili is going to be the same color going out as it came
I
in.
think so.
I mean, that was
If not, maybe more vibrant. Like,
the reading rainbow.
Yeah, I might see some shades that you didn't know existed.
You think 50 Shades of Grey was
Wow.
hot? You should feel my butthole after I do this.
I didn't have velvet. What all did you put in there?
Red velvet
You're-
in my little brown eye. Oh, shit.
No.
And speaking of which, before we get too further either, I wanted to do one shout out before I forgot to
Oh, yeah.
Jesse, my buddy Jesse.
Yep.
His wife's been ill recently, so gotta send a little hey to him. And he messaged you the other night
commented on the YouTube.
right, because you have access to stuff and I don't. We just touch on it when we see
Right.
each other. So I guess he was drinking and commenting. And you gotta appreciate that.
Yeah.
You gotta. That's
Drink with us.
yeah, that's what we're going for here.
That's how
So
I
we tell
feel.
you what we're drinking, and
You can enjoy it with us.
Mhm. Yeah, but you said we got an email this week.
We did, yeah. So
Which
we
is
got
funny
email.
because I was actually at Gibson's today. They replaced their
Really?
transmission, and now they're going to replace 4 tires because I thought 2 were bad. Then they were like, "Yeah, you got all 4 are bad." So I was like, it never ends with cars. They're just money pits. But yeah, thanks for keeping me on the road, guys.
Right, no shit.
So I can make more money to give you the next
To
round.
give you more money. Yeah, exactly.
I see what you guys are
Yeah.
doing.
We'll get you back
We'll
on
get
the
you
road,
back. Yeah,
don't worry.
you'll be back in 2 weeks.
You'll be back.
It's just my cycle of shit just keeps up, like one vehicle and then the next vehicle and the next vehicle. So whatever.
Right. Yeah, just rotating them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we got another email from Wade down there, and he says, "Hey guys, Wade again. Music is a big part of my life, and I'm sure it is for you guys as well. What's some of your guys' favorite songs or artists, country, classic rock, etc.? Thanks again for being awesome, and have a good one." So we do appreciate those,
Oh yeah.
and
St. Joe has 102.5 is back. KY 102.
oh really?
Yeah, it's been back.
Didn't I know
And I
that?
actually like it. I mean, it's a nice throwback to some
Yeah.
stuff, you know. But it's nice to have a local station other than Q Country playing the same fucking 5 Luke Bryan songs over and over again. And you got K-Joe that plays pop slop. I don't know what shit.
Yeah.
I can't even stand to listen to them. I did come across a radio station earlier this week that has already started playing nothing but Christmas music.
Oh god.
That was last Saturday, actually.
Oh god.
Oh yeah. And here's the thing. It's like
Do you remember the number?
it's like a. I think it was like 103.9 or 104
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. 104.5 maybe. Shit, I don't know.
Wow.
So here's the thing. It was like when I heard it, it was a lot like hearing somebody fart in public, or at the same time it was the audio equivalent of seeing a fat girl in a miniskirt.
Yeah.
Like it was like, this is bad. Like, why the hell would anybody want to see that?
Right.
But at the same time, I was like,
But it is Christmas
it
music.
is Christmas music, but it is kind of popping. It's making me feel good after the COVID and the elections.
I missed you,
feeling-
Mariah.
yeah, baby, I totally. I'll tell you what, if I could sing "All I Want for Christmas" was her,
Right.
and she would actually come and sit on my face I would perfectly like.
Now, the version of her from the 90s.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. Oh yeah, definitely from the 90s. Like now, I don't know. Even now, I might do it just to say I did it.
Right.
But if we're going for just boner material, definitely the early to mid 90s. Because back in the day, she was freaking hot.
Right.
I mean, smoking hot.
She was one of those. You know.
Oh yeah, like that was one of the ones on the top 10 of the countdown they had on MTV every day that you want to race home and spank me.
Right.
I mean, because we didn't have quick internet porn, we didn't have internet porn on our phones, and we didn't have nudie mags at easy access.
Right.
It was just whatever you could use.
A lot of imagination.
Oh God, yeah. Like I really feel like we've discussed that before. I feel legitimately bad for kids these days because when they're 40 and 50 and they're having to knock out one with their wives, they're gonna have no idea how to use imagination to pretend they're fucking somebody else because they got nothing visually in front of them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're like, hey, I'm banging Mariah Carey from being 1992. She still got the same hairstyle, up and down.
Yeah, exactly.
So, kids, remember, that's one thing that we and your old man have up on you no matter what, is we
Right.
know how to reference our imagination to the spank thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Anybody who's been in the military, probably the same thing.
Oh, right.
Because,
Yeah.
just throwing that. Of course, now they let them keep their cell phones and shit.
Oh, yeah.
That makes it a lot easier.
I bet. Any data access while you're
No shit.
over
Some
there.
kind of Wi-Fi. I would say earlier this week there's always certain like fallbacks, and I sent this one to you too. It was raining. It's November. Every
Yeah.
time we get a cold rain on November, I'm like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Gotta bust that, and that led to like every similar song, and I just kept hitting next until I heard good ones. So this
Yeah.
week I've been rocking out on like 80s and
Yeah.
early 90s again.
Oh, yeah.
Rock, which seemed to be like the good thing to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's always the fallbacks you always go back to, though. I mean, when you really think back about the staples in your music theories, I mean, of course, you got hair metal,
Right.
and then you're gonna have like George Strait, Randy Travis, Alan Jackson, some of those good ones, and you got your red dirt staples,
Yeah. Got the Pat Green, Robert O'Kane, Roger Krager,
right?
Wade Bowen is a must.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
Randy Rogers is in
Randy
there for me.
Rogers, oh, yeah.
I mean, some of this new red dirt that's coming out seems almost like it's going
it's really getting close to the
the
Nashville
line.
sound. It's
right, and that's why when I see they're like red dirt, and I'm like,
It's kind of become the
new trend,
right? It's like the
Yeah.
Outlaws,
Right.
from back in the day.
And we've been listening to red dirt for 20 years,
God, at least, yeah.
and there was people that even look at that as, well, that's you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
looking at
When Pat Green went to Nashville
right,
and really opened it up for everybody
everybody
else.
right.
I mean,
But they're thinking about like Snake Farm. I mean,
Right.
that's their red dirt,
Now I'll go back and listen to that.
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
But yeah.
There was-
Man, speaking of a storyteller, Ray Wiley Hubbard,
Oh yeah, you can't
I
beat
mean,
that.
that guy can just tell a story like nobody else. And if you're a musician and you're playing out, especially if you're by yourself,
Yeah.
watch some Ray Wiley Hubbard and watch how he does it, because he just the way he intermixes his story with the song.
He's lost in it.
yeah,
I mean, he's not performing. He's just
right. It is just him,
yeah.
you know. And Todd Snyder does a lot of that too, and he picked that up from Jerry Jeff Walker.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's an old
Yeah.
right there.
Now Jerry Jeff, man. So he's kind of seen as like the life of the party, you
Right.
know? But he's got some really incredible, like
heartfelt.
heartfelt songs. I mean, his storytelling, you know. And
What was that documentary? It's a heartworn
Heartworn Highways.
Heartworn Highways. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
good.
he was on there too. I forgot
Yeah.
about him being on there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you gave that to me to
God,
watch,
man.
and I think I actually watched it like 3 times.
Oh man, I watch it
Yeah.
every year or so, a couple years. TJ gave it to me, and That was a documentary shot in like 1980.
It was, yeah.
Or,
Yeah, it was
early.
It was that early. Yeah, for us, it would be the beginning of time.
Beginning of more time anyway. And maybe it was even earlier than that.
I was gonna say, it seemed to me like it was mid to late 70s, but
Yeah.
you can't tell a lot of those guys. It's not like they're dressing for style and stuff.
And I think it was shot. Yeah, and I think it was shot in a couple of different parts.
Right.
But a lot of it was shot at Guy Clark's house, and then the Towns Van Zandt stuff was separate. And then they did a lot of stuff like different shows, like with Charlie Daniels. God, who was the other? David Allan Coe.
There you go.
You know, some of his prison stuff.
Well, David Allan Coe, you gotta appreciate David Allan Coe for what he is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and he's a good writer.
Yeah.
I mean, Mona Lisa lost her smile.
God damn.
You know, I mean, that is genuine music there. But then you got those couple albums that never got released, and that was genius on his part.
Yeah.
If anybody knows the story from that.
Yeah.
So, but he was constantly, like, I will say he wrote some heartfelt stuff, but he's one of those people that is constantly putting on a show.
Oh yeah.
And I seen him live one time at the Voodoo, and he kind of just came out. And when I say came out, I mean he crippled along
Right.
and sat down on his stool,
Yeah.
played for about an hour, hour and a half, whatever it was, and then waddled back. There was no show
That was
to it.
it.
Yeah, he never took a break. He played the whole time, and then he was done, and that was it. There was no encore. There was that was it. He was
Yeah.
done. And you didn't hear any of the good, like the classic stuff. He did a couple covers and stuff.
Really.
He was just kind of crippled up and
Yeah.
there, and you can't ever tell whether he's had a hard life, but it was self-inflicted. But you can't tell if he was doing that for him or show, because he's always putting on
Yeah.
a show.
Right.
You know. There's one line out of Red Dirt, a song that I heard last week. It's not the leaving I mind, it's the coming I crave, and it was not meant that way.
Right.
But I was
Yeah.
like, that's one of those lines that you can take home with you, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, I could apply this to a couple different scenarios and areas. It's not the leaving I mind, it's the coming I crave.
And depending on the crowd in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna take it a different way. Oh, man. So I've been getting into, and people will say, well, what's your Mount Rushmore of songwriters or whatever?
Right.
And I go through that, and I'll spend a lot of time. And I'm like, okay,
That's hard.
these are my four, know.
Right.
And it's like usually Chris Christopherson, Guy Clark, Towns Van Zandt, and then the fourth one kind of like goes back and forth between 5 or 6 different people, right?
Right.
And then, you ask me a few months later, and it'll be 3 different guys,
Right.
And it's like, fuck. I just like a lot of fucking shit.
Well, and that's the thing. I think some people, they either have one taste and that's it, or you have people that interweave everything they do in life into music somehow.
Yeah.
And like I can tell you memories I have,
Right.
and it's connected to music. Like if I hear a song on the radio, it takes me back to 2001.
Yeah.
I was living in Kansas City or something. Or it
I can
takes me
smell
back
my
to-
pickup from high school.
Right, like it's like that. It just
Yeah.
it brings that forth, and so you never know from one day to the next what I might be
Yeah.
listening. And this is going to sound really bad, but I'm still a real huge Sinatra fan.
Right.
Now you put Tony Bennett in front of me, I'm like,
Yeah.
But something about Sinatra, that era of what men were, and
Right.
how things were, and I'm totally about that. I'm not gonna lie, you might catch me listening to Michael Bublé sometime, but I make sure it's dark and no one can see me. So, but you know what I'm saying? It's just
Right.
like that. You can go with that era of a little romancing of what yesterday maybe used to be like,
Right.
as opposed to the next time I
Well,
might be
Frank Sinatra any time of the day.
yeah, I mean, and then the next time you might catch me, I might be like ready to get shitty and drunk, and I'm ready to listen to some Down with Uncut or Merle Haggard,
Right.
some Waylon.
Hank Jr.
Oh, man, I seen a clip a while back of Waylon Jennings on a Muppet movie,
Right.
Big Bird or whatever, and he's singing, and I'm like, there's a little piece of me that hopes that right after that, him and Big Bird just snorted a line off
You
the
know
dash.
this shit.
Like Big Bird's like, wow, what was that? Waylon's like, just a little morning pick me up.
I'm sure they did.
Next thing you know, Big Bird's like high flying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Why? I'm coming down. Waylon did everything.
Everything, and that was mainly to support his
Yeah.
coke habit.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Right. There were stories about him, being like passed out on the pool table, backstage, and they're counting down, and the drummer's getting in, and they're like, "Come on, Waylon," and then he takes a shot of cocaine, and
Away he
there he
went.
goes, plays the whole show, comes back and crashes again.
A hell of a way to
It's
live.
like,
Huh?
fuck, man. Yeah.
I don't think I could have a coke habit. Like I get allergy
I think it
season,
would
and that
last
knocks me
about
out.
4 minutes. My
Yeah.
heart would probably explode.
All right.
Man, Jesus, I'd be that guy.
How old was Waylon when he passed?
Oh, he was older than he should have been. I mean,
Oh, right.
He was, I want to say 58, 60. I mean, he was,
Somewhere in there.
yeah, probably older. I don't know. But hey, you know what? We got the internet.
All I find out there is
But,
music and porn.
Oh, there's other things. I should know this, But I got a tattoo of the fucking guy on my wrist.
who's the bass player for the Rolling Stones?
The bass player for Rolling Stones.
They say that if
Badass.
there was an atomic bomb that went off, there'd be nothing but cockroaches and what's his name left. That's another one.
Oh, well, Keith Richards.
Keith Richards, there we go.
Okay, he's a guitar player.
There you go.
Right.
No,
Sorry.
he's somebody that's lived longer than he should have.
Right. Waylon was 64.
That's it?
Yep.
God.
So. But yeah, speaking of the Stones, so
Kidney stones?
right? Do we pass it
I
on?
was going to say, pass this on to Josh, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure I'm probably got some coming eventually, I'm sure. So, I might be reaching out for some advice. Drink lots of water, I guess.
Yeah, pound of water.
Drink the water. Stop
Don't drink anything dark.
Stop drinking all this other shit. But the country stuff that the Stones did, like Wild Horses
Right.
and there's some others. But a lot of that, so if you take that back, and I don't know if you know the Flying Burrito Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, so Graham Parsons,
Uh-huh.
Chris Hillman, they formed the Flying Burrito Brothers and mixed the country and rock, and that really kind of opened up the door for like the Eagles
Right.
and Linda Ronstadt and some of the Rolling Stone stuff, and and then that kind of fed into Dwight Yoakam.
Like, you gotta appreciate
He
Dwight.
was a huge fan of like Flying Burrito Brothers and Jim Parsons and those guys.
Well, that explains the leather pants.
The leather pants, the nudie suit jacket,
Right,
and
right.
all that. It's like, yeah, that Southern California,
Mhm.
makes it.
Get out on the Bakersfield.
Yeah, and man, if you don't know Graham Parsons, look him up. I think he was 24 or something like that.
Was he that young?
He was young.
24 seems younger than it used to when you're
Right.
just saying that. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh.
He had a couple albums with the Flying Burrito Brothers, and then he had 2 of his own albums. Before his second album came out, he died, like right before it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Grievous Angel. And there's a movie with, I think it's got Johnny Knoxville in it, but it's called Grand Theft Parsons. And this is a true story. They had a pact. His road manager and Graham had a pact that whoever died first, they would take the body out to Joshua Tree in Southern California, right?
Uh-huh.
And set it on fire. So it would burn out there, right?
Instead of being buried.
Yeah, instead of being buried. Because that was where they loved to go hang out. And so Graham dies. He's in the hospital at the morgue, right? And his road manager gets in the hospital, steals his body, steals a hearse, drives out to Joshua Tree, throws gas on it, lights it on fire, you know, and then cops and fire trucks are coming, right? And he runs, you know, and end up putting out the body, and it's like kind of half burned up. Weird shit, right?
Right.
Just a crazy story especially for a country singer. But anyway, then there was a couple years later. So him and Emmylou Harris did a lot of stuff together. Like everybody knows, Love Hurts.
Right.
That was them, and so they were. I'm not sure they were a couple really, but you know they were together,
Right.
You know, kind of thing. And then she wrote a song later, a couple years later, I guess, called from Boulder to Birmingham. Sorry, and it was kind of like about Graham's death and her dealing with that.
Right.
And I never knew that part of the story until later. And there's a line in there where she's like, the last time I felt like this, I was standing in the field and the canyon was on fire. And I watched it burn and I was like, listen to it and I go, oh wow, that's real shit. Like, to write that and then like sing about that like every night, like, wow, that's cathartic, I guess. In a way.
Well, everybody's got their own process,
Trying to
right?
deal with it, you know. But Emmylou Harris is. I feel like her voice is like timeless. Like it's always been, and it will always be.
Right.
And it's always fresh.
Right.
It's like every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, if I believed in angels, that's what they'd sound like.
Like, I don't care what you look like, just sing while we do it. I'm gonna get there.
Man, I could listen to her sing all fucking night. But
Well,
not a lot of women singers I like that
No.
much, but
no, I get that.
she always has good songs.
What, you don't feel like you can connect with wet ass pussy?
I think everybody connects with it. Apparently.
Oh, I would connect with her for a few seconds, but she probably wouldn't feel anything.
A little too wet.
Be like fucking a 5-gallon bucket full of water.
Fuck.
I can't, you can only, there's something, they say it stretches and comes back. There's only so many times.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there, and I can't, I can't follow any Alabama Black Snake. So,
Yeah. Well, I've listened to that song twice now.
did you?
It feels big. Right? Listening to that song, it sounds like it's
A little bit.
Yeah.
Like Arby's should be sponsoring that.
yeah.
Maybe. No, I
Like the catcher's mitt. It is, ugh.
shit, there was.
You gotta say Miles.
Yeah, I got nothing for that. I really don't. I mean, because you're absolutely right. Did I send you the Asian cowboy version of that? Where he's singing it with a Garth Brooks song?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, we're talking wop, wop, wop. And I was like, this is fucking genius.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
It really
and he
was.
sang very well.
Right.
And then you see him and you're like, you're literally an Asian cowboy. If anybody wants to look up Garth Brooks WAP on YouTube, it's an Asian cowboy. You'll love it. If it doesn't feel like it hits home, then
If it hasn't been taken down.
oh god, it's got to be on there still. Lord, I hope.
Yeah, our last one, the one I uploaded last week, like immediately after I uploaded it, well, of course they're processing, checks everything.
Right.
Well, we listened to that song, that Ray Scott song.
Uh-huh.
And I even checked to see which label he was with at the time, and I was like, oh, he wasn't with, the Universal Nashville or whatever anymore, So
Right.
I thought, they're not going to fucking care. So I just left it in there because it sounded good through the video. And immediately after I uploaded it, it's like, this video's been copyrighted, blah, blah. And I was like, so basically, we can't make money off that video now.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Guess what? We ain't
We ain't making
nothing
any
now.
money anyway, so
Sorry.
good on you, bro. I've been asked a couple times what our entrance The intro music.
Okay.
Is.
It is. Oh God. I had the guy's name. So it's the name of the song is "Dude, Where's My Horse" by Nat Keefe and the Bowties.
I like it.
Keefe, I believe. Maybe it's Kafefe. Is that where Trump
No,
got
I
that?
think it's I got excited. I sprayed some confetti everywhere.
But yeah, it's Nat Kafefe and the Bowties. Dude, where's my horse? I don't know. I was going through the YouTube library, and people put songs on there that you can just pick for your videos. Most of the entry songs you hear on videos are from that.
Right.
So I was looking for, anything that's country, kind of like dirty, earthy type stuff.
Right.
Because that's what I feel like.
That's
sitting
what we
on the
are.
porch.
Dirty and everything.
Yeah, like I want it to feel like a front porch, and
Two
just
old boys drinking and
just
chilling out.
bullshit. And it is.
It is. Except it's cold. We're not on the porch.
It's
anymore.
cold now, yeah. So now should I redo the intro now? So it's
No.
we're on the diner table.
Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah. Originally when I did that, I don't know if anybody still listens to it, but when I did it, I was originally going to put a different question at the end.
Right, every time. Right.
Instead of why is a man about a thing, but
We
just
never have
finding the
answered
time
that
to, like-
question.
We never did, do we? But man, it's like God, every time it takes time to get things up together,
Right.
and time it and get it on. No, I'll get to
Well,
it.
it's still the same concept.
Yeah, and maybe for season 2,
we see big things coming. We don't
Yeah.
know how big. It might be big, it might be small. We don't know.
people are
But
saying,
it's coming.
people are saying it's going to be huge,
Huge. God,
Yeah,
when would
people
season
are
2 start?
I'm just going to go with after New Year's.
After New Year's?
Yeah.
It goes to season 2?
Yeah,
Because when did we start? What was it?
it was the end of March.
March?
I think.
I remember the first couple episodes were in here, inside.
It was still chilly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were. Yeah. I think it was March.
Shit, I
End
can't
of March.
remember. How unlucky I got my pants on this morning. That's just because I...
Come back 27 weeks.
Yeah, ish.
And that's where we're at. Made it all summer.
Yeah. Figure 7 months. We're on month 11. That put it right at the end of March, roughly.
Yeah.
Good enough.
I just feel like, we're growing slow, but we're still growing.
Speak for yourself. I finished already.
I don't know. We want to get a lot more listeners, and it would help if people share it more. But
Right.
But at the same time, I know it's kind of an acquired taste for some people. You don't want to send it to grandma, right?
Right. I think in the first episode, I think if people make it past
I usually tell people just skip
the first one,
Go to like episode 14.
That-
We're kind of like getting into the groove of
that
things.
first episode should be more like date 5.
Yeah.
You know, like you've already seen each other, you've had
Yeah.
sex a couple times. I'm gonna go ahead and show my ugly now. And if you like it, we'll keep fucking. If not,
It's
we'll
like-
only fuck and not hang out anymore.
We do it like Star Wars, release episode 4, 5, and 6, and then go back
Go
to
back,
1.
1, 2, 3. That's kind of how I have sex, actually.
Hey.
Like I finish first, and then I go to sleep.
Then the Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, and then I come back and have a little foreplay.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, we'll both finish this time. I even made you.
When I yawn, sometimes it'll come out like it's like, sorry. I started it as a joke, I think.
Now it just
And then now I
continues.
just do it because it's just natural now, I guess. But
So I flip through TikTok a lot when I'm
Yeah.
bored. You know, it's something that I don't have to put effort and attention
Nah.
into. It's just a few seconds, whatever. And I know you know this because you get forwarded
A
shit
couple.
from me every once in a while. And
I catch
so
up like every couple of days.
it's good deucing
It
entertainment.
is, yeah.
You know, you don't have to stay until your legs are numb. You finish 1 or 2 out and you're good.
Yeah.
So I guess this new trend is men growling into their microphones like aminals of some sort. I don't know. And they'll post this shit, and I'm like, now I can be a really arrogant asshole. Like arrogant, narcissistic. Hi,
Right.
that's me. I get it. I'll own that shit.
Yeah.
But you will never see me sending a video of like myself or audio of myself to a girl just like growling. Like it would come out like this and be like, I'm going to turn you on. Watch this, I will make your panties hurt. You ready? Listen to my earthy tones. And they'll be like, oh, Daddy, do it. Daddy, what the fuck was that? I'll be like, sorry. I'm just gonna sit over here and hairball. Like I don't get the growling part.
Right.
You know, like women are so starved for masculinity that now
You
we're
gonna growl
growling
at
at them. Like how about we just, you know, slap them on the ass, tell them to go make me a sandwich and fuck them doggy style. Whatever happened to that?
I guess I'm just gonna walk in the door tonight and just be like,
You do that and let me know how it goes. I'll follow suit if it works. I mean, not with your wife, obviously, but.
Okay. But she's probably just throwing my pillow at me and goes, on the fucking couch.
Yeah, she'd be like, what the fuck was that? Are you
How much
gassy
did
again?
you drink?
If that chili comes to haunt me in your sleep, I swear to God. What's that old story about you fart and when they go, oh my God, and they try and like hold the sheets down and you spit above their heads. So I don't think I could ever do that. I just the whole spinning in the house thing, I'd be like, creeps me out a little bit. But no, seriously, like it's just women are so starved for masculinity now. We're growling at them, huh? I don't get where that's a turn on at all.
I mean, is that the deal? Is it supposed to be a turn on?
I think so, because you get on the comments and the girls are all like, oh, I'm soaked. I'm moist. Moister than an oyster. You know? Not those exact words, but, you know, I'm just like, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should just go to the grocery store and randomly growl at girls. Like, what do you think the shot of getting laid in a bar after growling at a girl? And you just walk up to her and you're like, "Arr." And they're like,
yeah, just like that.
It'd be like, growl.
Later in the night, it turns into retarded, right?
Like I said, that's where the doggy style comes in. They think you're still going at it. Turns out you're just laying passed out on their shoulder, like. Like I just don't get the world, and it's hard to keep up. If you look back, what turned women on in the 50s as opposed to what turns a woman on now, like. In the last 10 years, it's been like, choke me, slap me.
Yeah.
I'm going to call you daddy.
Money's still up there.
And I remember the first younger girl I dated was, she was like, fucking, I fucked, let's fuck, whatever. And I'm like, what? Stop saying fucked. I was like, that sounds so crash, you know? And she's like, well, what do you call it? And I was like, I don't know. Banging? I'm like, fuck, I don't know. What do you think about it? And then so you
getting my dick wet.
We say, yeah, burying it in your sister. What'd you think I was talking about? So it's just like everything adapts, and I understand that. But like, and if we keep going the way we're going, we're literally gonna have to like roofie a girl for foreplay, and they're gonna be into it. They're gonna be like, look, are you gonna roofie me, or are we gonna talk? Because I really don't feel like talking and exchanging numbers. I just want you to roofie me, leave a load, and then dump me on the side of the highway. That's what I'm just like, how far are we going to get with this as far as,
oh, man.
I just, because now, if you're single, like the whole 50 Shades of Grey thing, I mean, if you meet a girl that is not into that kind of thing,
really,
it's stupid. It's just stupid. It's almost like a graduated, like, if I could say like one more time, it's almost graduated. Like if they don't, if they're not, then they feel like they should. You know what I'm saying? And there's different levels of it. Like some girls are like, smack my ass and pull my hair, and that is like a bare minimum. Most of them want choked and slapped and everything else, and they're like, I'm like,
me, but not really.
couldn't I just have you do my laundry and some dishes maybe? And then we'll do missionary and go to bed and you'll still feel just as used? Would that be cool?
Just like force you the entire time. Oh,
Yeah, there was one girl that suggested some stuff, and I'm like, I'm literally going to have you sign a consent form. Because
right.
you may trust me to do these things to you. There was like knife play involved and shit. And I was like, you might trust me to do this shit, but I don't trust you enough not to come back tomorrow and say this happened.
Or in 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
So
fuck.
I'm just like, which, you know, we did, but still, like,
More?
I took a,
Yeah.
she sent a video or something, whatever. Anyways, so then it was like, I kept that, and then we still did it, and she was like really getting off on it. She's like, that was intense, and I was like, I didn't finish. I was concentrating on not slitting your jugular.
Right. Yeah.
So
It's a different game for me. You
yeah,
know?
you know, I was in there, but
Can't say it was enjoyable.
yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah. I tell you, man, the more I learn about new dating,
you don't want to be in
it
it.
makes me so glad
That you're
I'm
not in it.
married
Mm.
and
Agreed.
like completely happy with what I've got. Like,
I wish I'd have taken a different path. What path that would have been, I can't honestly tell you. But there's times where I'm just like, how did I? And it's always fun. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
Right.
if you sit down with a bunch of guys and y'all are telling stories like we do,
yeah.
and everybody's bullshitting, there's usually at least some moment in there that people are like, how in the fuck do you get yourself into these situations? And I'm going to tell you straight up, I have no fucking clue. I don't know.
It just keeps finding.
It just, like, I'm that stupid to go, oh, this won't go that bad. And then I do it. And then I usually relate a song to it. And now every time I hear that song, I remember going home and smelling my poop dick or something, you know, when you, like, it's like, every rose has its thorn.
You just reach over and turn it off, and they're like, "Why'd you turn it off? That song stinks."
Yeah. Was that Sting?
That
Yes,
song-
that was Sting.
This song left a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh god, Sting had a song that came out in the early '90s, and I'll never forget it. And I just remember I was riding with a girl, and I pissed her off, and we'd been drinking, and we were in
So
Kansas City.
Stalker's Anthem.
No,
Every step you take.
the song was on, and she was driving like 90 miles an hour down 435, like weaving through traffic, and I'm just thinking, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. And now every time I hear that song, I change it because I think it's like in my head, it's like bad luck. Or what was that song from Coyote Ugly? Not in the Moonlight or whatever, with Leanne Rimes did that
Yeah.
song, and
Yeah.
Can't Fight the Moonlight.
Yeah.
I hear that shit and I turn it off. Same scenario, girl
Really?
driving, and that's why I don't let women drive now. I don't give a shit. If I'm drunk and passed out and I've got to get home, no, I'll just sleep in the ditch. I don't give a shit. I ain't driving, no. Ain't doing it. Not gonna happen. Ain't
Right.
points of light. Ain't gonna do it. Come together. Not happening.
Yeah.
Scary. Bad. Bad.
George H. W. W's daddy.
It's just, yeah, there's certain, and that's another good point with songs. Like, if you hear a song, it can throw you back to good places. Like, a song will throw you back, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to be here.
Get a little anxiety coming.
Oh,
up again. It's
yeah,
like-
trigger some fucking bad, oh, yeah, I might, you know, I'm not going to go see a counselor over it, but I might shed a tear and cry.
Yeah. And then it's usually like, oh, now because I listened to that song, now I gotta go listen to this one.
This one, right. That one
Because
brings the
this
happy
is the
times
one that
after.
actually got me through that other
Right,
shit.
right. Oh,
I
yeah.
gotta go through this all over again.
All over again. PTSD.
Yeah.
You ever hear a song and they actually, like you said, reminds you of a smell?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those never happen to me with the good songs.
Oh, really?
Oh no, no,
Or the good smells.
and or the good. Well,
Is that where we're going?
smell
with
my
that?
fingers. I remember this one time. This girl had put on. We went and sat in her hot tub, in her parents' hot tub, And we had a few to drink, and we got out, and I got super lightheaded from the alcohol, from the hot tub, everything. And she's like, well, let's go inside and sit down on my bed. And I said, okay. So supposedly the parents were either asleep.
This
or
sounds
not
like a
home
great
or whatever.
idea.
Yeah, it sounds. Yeah, you can see where it's going already. And we go to her room, and she's got LL Cool J playing, and she's like, look how these jeans, because she lost like a little weight. She wasn't never a fat girl, but she was a little curvy, and she'd lost this weight. And hell, everybody thought she was fucking anorexic at this point.
Right.
And you're gonna know who I'm talking about when I tell this story, because we worked at McDonald's with her back in high school, and she always wore super bright blue eyeshadow.
Oh.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Don't turn it on.
no. So we get out of the hot tub, we go to her room, and she's wearing jean shorts and this little white button-up tube top. It had like 3 buttons on it or whatever, She's playing LL Cool J. And
Is this the Mr. Smith album?
I can't be probably when you think about the time frame.
Yeah.
And she's taking her jean shorts and she slips them over her hips without unbuttoning. And she's wearing black lace panties. Next thing I know, I'm unbuttoning the shirt. She's wearing these black pants. We get up and she gets on me, and she had this bunk bed, and the lower bunk bed was like a full size, and the upper bunk was like a twin size. And so she pushes me back. She gets on top, and I mean, she was all that was hot back then. I mean, she was just. Even thinking back now, like not trying to sound like a complete pervert, like I'm gonna bang a 16-year-old, but you know what I'm saying. Like there's that moment where you're just thinking back of how you were at that moment.
Right.
Yeah, it's relative to where you are in life.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking back, and I'm like, God, that was just amazing. And about the time she straddles me, and I just remember running my hands up her thighs, and I met her hips, and I'm touching her butt, and I've waited so long for this moment. I hear, and I was like, the fuck was that? She goes, that's my dad. And I was like, what do you mean that's your dad? She's like, oh, he's,
your mom.
yeah, no shit. He's asleep on the couch. Right, and I was like, the couch we passed that was right by your bedroom door, like the couch was like butted up to the wall. Here's the wall. Here's the doorway into her room. And I'm like, that one? She's like, yeah, he sleeps on the couch because of his back. And I was like, meep. I left her standing there in her bra and panties the whole 9 yards. I was out of that house fucking like Roadrunner. But now every time I hear LL Cool J, and it's like suave, like grooving, like doing it and doing it and doing it. Wow. I'm like, get the fuck out. No, like I can't jam. I cannot jam to LL Cool J. He comes on and does that little lip smack thing on the TV, and I'm like, where's Dad? I'm out. Shit, I'm fucked. He should have wrote a song called Buckshot, because I probably would have related to that. I'm just like,
Does Dirk Bentley.
oh, Jesus. Yeah, so I remember that song too. But yeah. So now every time I hear LL Cool J, or I like see him on NCIS, I automatically think about blue eyeshadow, nice tight booty, and Dad.
And Dad.
And he was a nom vet. This guy was like rumored to be like a little batshit crazy because of being a nom, like Charlie's Everywhere, Agent Orange bullshit.
Right.
And I heard those stories. So when she's like, oh yeah, that's just my dad. He sleeps on the couch because his back hurts. And I'm like, I'm going to be the one walking with a fucking lamp if I don't get the fuck out of here.
Where's that bill motherfucker running through my house in the dark?
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Pew! They call me the streak. Fucking all of a sudden he's tossing over the couch and shooting over it for cover with an AK-47 M16 in his hand. Me love you long time, bitch.
He's like, oh, now that brings back memories.
Buku. What's he saying? Too big. God. Yeah.
Yep.
I'd be interested to see if anybody has music that they relate to that maybe we haven't heard.
Oh, yeah.
Or even send in, an email of whatever, just to see.
Yeah.
What? Because, one song to me, like, nobody would ever think that LL Cool J would give somebody anxiety.
Right.
I mean, who would think?
Yeah. My dad shattered that CD.
Did he?
Yeah.
I remember,
I got that, and I was listening to it. I thought he was asleep,
He probably was.
He probably was. Then he heard it, and he was like, "Motherfucker, what is this?
Not in my house."
I think Mom heard it more than he did, so I think she probably told him, "You go in there and take care of that,"
And he's like, I
He
just
just
don't
walks
want
in,
to hear your mom, bitch.
opens the CD, and just goes.
Your
And I was
dad.
like,
Your dad's a stat man. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
back in his day, man, he was. Don't fuck with him. He was, but yeah, this was that one and Adam Sandler. They're all gonna like
That was a good album.
because I was listening to a medium bass. Yeah. And
The
he's like-
shampoo bottle
And
in
he,
my
yeah,
ass.
he was like,
bass.
"That is the most pornographic song I've ever heard."
You gotta hear this one,
And I'm
Dad.
like, well, it kind of is, but funny.
You're right.
It's like, haha, not funny.
God, that was a good album. Hey, you guys ever? Oh my God, do you smell that? That's skunk. You know what skunk reminds me of? Pussy. Reminds me of this one time I was at an amusement park and this old man comes sliding down the water slide and his balls were just flopping out, and so I just stood there and I was staring at these big, beautiful old man saggy balls, and they're like, thump. You guys suck. They're driving off, and then they hit the cow. Remember?
Oh yeah.
The moral of the story is, if any of your friends have stared at old man saggy balls, do not throw them out of the car, or you will die. Like you're trying to tell me something, dude?
He really had some interesting
Oh
content.
God! Back in the day, Adam Sandler was the funniest shit.
He was funny.
And then now all he does is the whole, I'm a rich guy, I'm a simple guy that
Yeah.
became rich, and now I find my love of my life, and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
But he, another thing on that CD was, I would every time I'm like cleaning the windows or something, you know, or whenever I'm doing the janitor song, it's like mop 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 all day long.
Mop,
Mop, mop, mop, go sing my song.
Do you
My
remember
kids know that
the
because
psychologist? The psychologist who's like, he's busting ass, and he's like, and Kevin Nealon is the psychologist. He goes, that was either you yourself or my secretary.
Oh.
Don't worry, she gets it all the time. it's a new leather couch. Go ahead, keep going. He's like, okay, I can't concentrate when you keep on doing that. He's like doing what? That's a good one. Anybody needs a good laugh in your day?
Yeah.
and you get poop humor.
Fatty McGee, you're the fattest. Toll Booth Willie.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
There's some good shit there.
$1.25. Isn't that the same price your mother charges for a blowjob, you piece of shit? Hey, Reverend, get the fuck back here!
This is shit that kids nowadays, I think, would get entertainment out of, simply because of the fact that they don't have to think about humor these days. Everything is so in your face.
Right.
Back when we were in the 90s and shit, you had to think, and even like if you see an old 80s movie on like TV or something, you go back and watch it, you're like, I didn't get half of these
Right.
jokes as a teenager.
Golden Girls.
Oh yeah, there's
Some of their humor is fucking
Dirty
hilarious.
as
Yeah,
shit.
dirty, right?
Yeah.
It's like, man.
wow, that came out of Grandma's mouth.
These old bras are dirty.
Oh yeah, Ruth McClanahan. Oh man,
Betty White's still dirty, man.
that the older she gets, the dirtier
Right.
she is. And I wonder if sometimes if she even gets it completely, she's just like, I know this is making people laugh, so I'm gonna do it.
If I say cut it again.
Yeah.
I saw a thing with her, and it was, I don't know if you were into video games back in the day.
Not really.
Okay. Anyway, there was a video game called Mortal Kombat.
Right.
And it was like a, fighting,
Fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, in there, in the game, there's like levels, so it's like a totem pole kind of thing,
Right.
As you beat this level, it goes up. And so it was like, they had like Eddie Van Halen, and everybody's died like in the last like 2 months, right? And Betty White at the very top, and she was like, I was like, oh, that's funny. It's a little
dark.
a little dark, but that's funny.
Eddie Van Halen actually, speaking of music, did a soundtrack to a porn that he directed.
Really?
Yeah, I own it.
Did not know.
It's on DVD.
Really?
Yeah, back when you had to buy porn.
Yeah, right?
And I can't remember who I was dating at the time.
Buy one, get 3 free.
It was probably Jack's mom, honestly, and we seen it and we're like, Eddie Van Halen, yeah, it's got to be good because the soundtrack's good.
Right.
Soundtrack suck. I mean, you can tell it was a Van Halen, but and the movie wasn't that great either.
Was
if
it
I
Victor
remember.
Frankenstein?
I can't remember even what the porn was about. I don't know.
He just goes up.
I remember it. There's like one scene with him like doing a solo, like an intermission in the middle of the porn, and he's on like these broken TVs and these rocks, and then all of a sudden goes MTV videos, and
Right.
he's playing this guitar solo, and then it goes back to the porn, and I'm like, yeah, we went from one G string to another G string, and back to the first G string again.
He's like, people are gonna love this.
It's gonna be
or
awesome.
somebody gave him a bunch of money and they go, look, people are gonna love this.
Right.
And he's like, all I gotta do is play guitar in the desert, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And put your name on it.
If oh god, what was his name? If David Lee Roth isn't coming back to Van Halen,
Oh man.
and Sammy Hagar's off playing tequila, I guess I'm gonna have to do porn.
Yeah. Oh, David Lee Roth's an interesting dude.
He's a
I
little
love him so
crazy.
much. He is crazy.
He's crazy. I mean, there was a video of him one time, like he's at like a hotel and they're having like a bachelor party or something,
Yeah.
and he like sees them, and the guys are like, yeah, cool, but they're drunk as shit, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, what room are they in? And he finds the room, and he knocks on the room thinking he's gonna be like the guest of fucking honor or something, and open the door like, hey,
Who's this old fucker?
what's up? And he was like, oh yeah, they were impressed. Their minds were just blown. That's all. Their minds were blown. And I'm like, no, David, they don't know
You
you.
don't know you.
They were born in like '94, bro.
Yeah.
They don't have a clue.
And really, you ain't done anything since then.
Since then, right? Since you were on MTV,
Yeah.
I ain't got nobody. Nobody.
Man. Those were the good old days. I heard a thing that speaking of music, you kind of like freeze at your peak,
Mhm.
like your between your 18 25 year, you know, and that's where your fashion kind of stays. That's where your taste in music stays.
Shit, I
Like
was
the rest of
7
your
then.
life.
I'm still wearing the socks that I pull up to my knees with the red stripes on them.
Right.
No, but so,
Yeah.
like, seriously, when you think back, like I couldn't honestly tell you. Like
Yeah.
it'd have to be like 2010 maybe for me, which means I was a late bloomer,
Yeah.
like 28. Actually, I'm still wearing
Well-
the boots to the bars. That the first time I wore them was to TJ Spurgeon's mother's
Oh yeah.
benefit.
Benefit,
She was
yeah.
alive. Yeah. God, we rocked out that one too.
Yeah.
You know you're doing good when you close the Eagles. when you're closing a cancer benefit.
You were closer to the Eagles? No.
The Eagles.
Federation.
It was we closed a benefit dinner for a cancer
The
survivor.
10 building. That was a good night though.
Yeah, that was a good night.
Yeah.
There was a girl there that I just remember the boobs. I don't remember much else.
I remember that.
I remember that. Moving on.
There was always a chick somewhere involved in something.
Amen.
But yeah, so I grew up with like all country music,
Right.
you know, and like oldies,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then I get into high school, start hanging out with like TJ, you know, and Tish.
Mm-hmm.
Tish wasn't really a country fan. TJ was a fan of everything.
Everything.
Yeah. And, but at that time, he was really into metal and you know all that. But he got me into the blues. He got me into all the Bruce Springsteen stuff, you know, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then some metal stuff, which I can do metal for about
2 or 3
20
songs.
minutes. Yeah, it's like you know,
Yeah, I get it.
It's kind of like okay, I get it. It's cool, you know, but I get tired of it. So it's definitely not my thing. But I appreciate it. And but yeah, so like high school is where I got into like Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue and all that stuff. You know, that's where I got into that. And so yeah, so that's where my memories are of
Right.
that music. You know, which is probably like your memories of like being like 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
And like, so yeah, it's just within like, I don't know. I don't know if it's because I write music, I'm a musician, that maybe I'm more into like everything.
Right.
You know? But I'm still
I think
finding,
that helps.
I'm still finding new music I love.
Oh yeah, all the time.
It's like,
If I hear something, even like on TV or something, and
Right.
and I'll Shazam it,
yeah.
and then that opens doors, and then you'll go to related to,
Related
and
to,
then-
yeah.
and it's just on and on and on.
Yeah.
Which is neat that they do that. Like even like my phone comes with Tidal,
Oh yeah.
and so they'll even do that on there, and that's always interesting to flip open and see. Oh, I was
Yeah.
because there was this one, and I was like, well, there's 2 or 3 songs in there. I like the one, and then I found 2 or 3 others that I liked.
Sure.
And then you go down to there, and it was like inspired by the Eagles, and I was like, how? How? And then, but there's always
Joe Walsh.
yeah, right. That was it. He was high as fuck. They both like weed. Turns
Right.
out it's really good.
He showed him how to use a talk box.
Right.
So that took off to something else, and then yeah.
Well, and even now when I think back, there's a couple songs. Clay Walker and Kenny Chesney were kind of big when we were
Yeah.
sophomore, juniors, right in that area. And I heard a Clay Walker song the other day, and I was like, man, that's been a while since you even heard that name. I heard
Yeah.
he's come out with some new stuff, but they're playing
has,
some of
but-
his old stuff.
Yeah, he's got
It's
an
not-
S, and so kind of
Is that what it is?
yeah.
And I just, it took me instantly back to that summer of like 97 or 98 or whatever it was. And I was just like, man, I
Yeah.
can't believe that's been that long ago. And then you go into how much has changed and where you were, and man, it just flies by.
Sometime I want to like try to document
Hmm.
everything that's changed, like
Sure.
big changes since
Right.
we were born. Like, you know,
I don't know if that'd be a good idea.
I remember when we were like in 3rd grade or something, and I remember one of my teachers was like, "You guys have already lived through a war," you know, and I was like, "Wow."
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Right. But it was like, it was a big thing. And it was like, oh, okay, some people don't. But then I was like,
Yeah,
this is America. We all lived through a war.
the Persian Gulf isn't
If you, right, you call it a war.
a war,
Like
right? Like
Bill Hicks.
people lost,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was roughly what, like a 3-day.
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's actually where the Air Force used to brag on it. Like, this was the first time we did this, and look how well it worked. And I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work. Like, I get the concept,
Yeah,
and you're multiplying it out on a larger level, but you're not gonna get that lucky
yeah.
every time.
I think those guys were like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Boom.
Oh shit. Whoops. They got more stuff.
Yeah.
But Bill Hicks got a thing about the Gulf War, and he's like, first of all, it wasn't a war. A war is where 2 armies fight.
Right.
So you see. It's like,
It was a strike.
it was, yeah,
It was a strike.
definitely.
I don't know.
But now, kids that are 20 now have been living through a war since they were born.
Oh yeah, it's been
I mean,
non-stop.
is it ever going to end?
It's and when you compare
I
it
don't
to
know.
Vietnam,
It keeps changing.
yeah, it's
It's weird.
well, let's the corporate wants, as far as that war goes,
Right.
are different and keep changing. I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think when technology got to the point where communication became so easy, the corporations and governments got bigger, the governments got smaller, and now it's just. I mean, if you historically look back on some of the stuff that went on in like the 1500s, 1600s, historically speaking, with kings and queens and countries and everything, it's like so simple
Yeah.
and such big conflicts over such simple things, and now that shit would not go over now. Like, it's just, if that doesn't put into mindset how the power structure in our country is built, I mean, it's really kind of depressing when you think about it, because
Yeah.
there is no beating the system. There is no overcoming the odds as far as that goes. As far as the power structure in our country goes, you and I will never be on top. There's no working our way up. There's no, I'm going to challenge you, stab you in the butt, and now I get your land kind of thing.
You can try, but by God.
But
you
by
ain't
God,
getting it.
yeah. But and now it's just not going to happen. The people on the top are going to stay on the top. The people on the bottom are going to stay on the bottom. And the only way to really fix that is to do a complete reset, and that's just not there because we can't get along well enough in this world to decide on the president.
We can't agree on anything.
Let alone get together long enough to go, this is unjust, it needs fixed.
And I had a thought the other day, and I know that I've thought this before, but really,
I'll probably be getting a knock on my door from Homeland Security after saying that.
probably. But you know, in an election that seems like both sides thought it should be a landslide,
Right.
one way or the other, right? I feel like that kind of like confirms that we're getting misinformation on both sides.
On both sides. From everywhere. They're just reading us what they want.
And you can try to like I'll try to watch Fox News, and I'll try to watch CNN, and I'll try to read these articles and these articles, and it's like, fuck, like
Right.
they're so contradictory that it's like I can't even find the middle ground anymore.
Well, and there is, I don't know if there is. I think everybody has their own agenda, their own side, and everything else, and depending on where you go. And the thing is people
It's designed to keep you
apart.
separated, right?
Because if we're arguing,
Right.
we're not paying attention to what they're doing. And I've said that before, and I'll say it every time, but it also comes down to, I think, people are so self-involved now with social media. We've learned the world revolves around us. And if we're not open-minded enough to see different points of view, we just pick the article that applies to our agreements the most, and that's what we choose to read and preach about.
We go to I'mRight.com.
Right, exactly. And everybody gets a different page when you get there.
Right.
So it's and we touched on this last week about the election. We talked about it briefly in a drunken stupor. And I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but does anybody else find it ironic that Pfizer just has this pretty decent vaccine for COVID a week after the freaking elections?
So
Like, you cannot, there's so many, like, it's almost like watching an episode of CSI or something on TV because it's the same storyline you seen coming. Let me guess. The guest star is going to be the murderer? Fuck me.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Didn't see that coming.
Right.
Again.
So let me get this straight. The guy that was the good guy is really the bad guy? Oh my God. You know, it's just like it's so textbook written out. It's like, and they don't even try and hide it now. It's like, oh yeah, election fucked up. 3 hours, we found 100 and some odd thousand votes. And now, oh my God, COVID's answered. And who do you think's going to get the credit for that? Oh, probably the new president, you know, whoever that is. But it's just going to be like,
well,
let me put this in perspective for you. This is like you and I going to a bar, right?
Yeah.
And you play music, shocking. I drink, shocking. We have a couple afterwards, again, shocking. And the hottest single woman in the bar, I'm staring at by the end of the night. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's you seen it coming. You knew it was gonna happen.
Here's the kicker.
Mm-hmm. She's got
crazy.
herpes. Oh shit, she's crazy. Oh yeah. Never. That's a first.
If only herpes.
If only. If I could just walk away from here with a discharge,
Yeah.
but you're completely normal, I would settle for that.
Either way, it keeps coming around.
Either way, I'm finished.
On that note.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, Wade, I'll tell you what. You gave us a topic of music. We started with music.
We tried.
We evolved from everything.
Kept going back to it.
But you know what? I think it's a full circle in this. I really do. What episode do you think that was that we talked about music? It had to be like...
There's a couple.
It had to be like late
But we had
4 to
that
10
one-
or 5 to 10
Yeah, songs that raised us.
songs of races.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
that was a good. But man, there is so many songs. Like if you get started talking about songs, it's like it's gonna link to one to another to another
Yeah.
to another. And I will say,
Oh, there's so much more we didn't even talk about. I'm sure.
oh yeah, if you want to listen to anything that's gonna strike a nerve and catch you as interesting and open up your, if you really want to open up anything as far as new songs, go back and listen to the old stuff from, really the 70s, I think.
70s were really,
Good.
to me,
they
that all
evolved.
got started.
Right.
Where really everything got like more. Well, there was always that Hank Williams and,
Right.
and things like
You,
that.
you
but-
had the very commercialized people. There was a set group of people that picked what got
right.
presented to the average Joe in the from the beginning until the late 60s.
Yeah.
In the 70s, you had
But
a
yeah,
lot
in
of
the late
involvement.
60s and the 70s, we had Dylan, we had like Neil Young.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's when communication
Some
started
Eagles.
getting easier.
yeah,
Recording started getting cheaper.
all the singer-songwriters and the folky guys, like,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much.
And that started really branching out to so many other
Right.
genres and forms and everything else. I think so. If you really want to open up your books a little bit, and discover some new stuff, go way because you got to remember Wayne's probably like in his early 20s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So got his head on his shoulders, decent human being.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to the old stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, I'd have to really think about that, I guess. I was going to say, if you want to know what sums me up
Mm-hmm.
musically,
Right.
I was going to name like 3 or 4 artists. It keeps changing.
I can't do it. Yeah.
So it's like, well, fuck, I have to think about it even now.
Well, and it's funny if you go back and you look at some of the more pop culture people from the 70s, Elton John,
Yeah.
Billy Joel,
Billy Joel.
Bob Dylan, any of those guys, they all kind of had a phase they went through. They had like,
We've seen 2.
yeah,
We've
we
seen all
had,
3.
yeah. But they always changed from album to album. There was like a country version of them.
Right.
There was kind of a popish version they went through.
That's the other
They
thing.
explored so much, and it led to so many other people being influenced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Is we used to make albums,
Mm-hmm.
and the album was a story in itself.
In itself, yeah.
Now it's like a concept album.
You buy it,
Like
and that was the great thing
concept
about
album,
a record album. You open it
Yeah,
up, and
you
there's
open it up,
pictures, and
yeah,
there's
pictures.
a storyline, and there's,
Yeah.
everybody involved is on there, and that's what I love about records. And CDs were kind of the end of that because the tapes they had to fold out. Remember the fold
Right.
out,
Yeah.
and then that kind of went away.
Most of them anyway.
And then
CDs,
the
it
CDs,
was kind of random.
right?
Sometimes
you never
you'd have
know.
a good one.
I remember Aaron, my buddy from high school, Aaron had bought a Tool or a Saliva record. He was big into rock.
Oh,
It was a 3D hologram, and if
Oh,
you looked
okay.
at it the right way, it's this guy sucking his own dick.
Oh shit.
Right in line with
So I remember hearing about that, but
Right.
I couldn't remember what it was about.
I mean, it was similar to an Elton John, I guess, album, but
Sure. He might have done that.
Yeah, fuck, I don't know.
If, he had that.
the flexibility. Yeah, that's the difference between in the 70s they had to find dick to suck. In the 90s they just sucked their own dick.
Just suck your own.
God, I feel
Remove
horrible
your bottom
saying
two
that.
ribs and just go. Right?
You remember that? You remember
the
that?
story? Yeah.
Yeah, what was it, Marilyn Manson?
Marilyn Manson is really.
Yeah, supposedly had 2
Yeah.
rooms. Look, and I remember, when he was on like the VMAs or something. I talked him into watching, and so we're watching these
Yeah.
music awards or whatever, and it was like he come out in assless chaps or
Yes.
something, and it was that, and they were all like, everybody was just like, that's disgusting. He sucks his own dick, and I was like.
Or something.
And now here I am at 38 going, if I could suck my own dick, it would have saved me a lot of money over the years.
He had it all figured out.
He had it all done. What the hell were we mocking him for?
Uh,
Do you remember Howard Stern and Fart Man on the VMAs?
Oh yeah.
If anybody wants some entertainment, go to YouTube and look up Howard Stern VMAs Fart Man. You will be entertained. I guarantee you. That was the age to live in. I think every
Yeah.
generation, But I think from like 82 to 98 was the time to live in, and by God, we were there. The communication, nobody could track you. You could take, you know, if you weren't home, you weren't on your phone.
Yeah.
We had some great evolutionary, and then here we are in the 2000s, and everybody's self-involved.
Can you imagine when we were in high school, if you like took a road trip and got lost? You were just lost. You couldn't. There was no GPS. You might pull over and ask for directions, but fuck that, right?
I remember even the first time I went to Sturgis on my own as an adult was 2010, and we got lost in Icebox Canyon at like an elevation of like 12,000 and some odd feet, and it was like 34 degrees, 38 degrees, something like that. It was starting
Before
to
it got
drizzle.
dark.
Oh, it was dark.
Oh, it was dark.
We got lost in the fog and went
Oh,
straight instead of
fuck.
taking a left at like, I don't even remember, Deadwood maybe? Fuck, I don't remember. And we ended up,
Somebody probably stole the sign.
oh dude, there was nothing out there. Like the houses didn't have lights. Like it was nothing, and it was beautiful. I mean, you could smell the pines,
Yeah.
and there was nothing but your headlights and the stars out there. And it was starting to drizzle, and it was absolutely gorgeous and breathtaking. But it was cold. We didn't have any cold weather right in here. When we left, it was like 70, and it was evening.
Right.
And then as elevation got up, then we got into some moisture, and we're reading by headlight a map, and we have no orientation. We've got no idea we kind of have an idea what north and south is, but not really.
Right.
You know, and you got a 50-50 shot at that point.
North is
This way or that way. Because
Or that way.
You can see the roads running north and south. So we're kind of like, well, we came from this direction, so surely we're right about here, which means if we took this way, then we're pointing this way.
right.
Kind of where we're at. We're having to orientate ourselves. And I remember, even at that time, I think I had a BlackBerry. I don't remember for sure.
Oh yeah.
But there was no internet connection per
BlackBerry.
se.
Right.
You know,
Especially
it just
there.
made funny clicking noises with the ball and the
Yeah. There was no
texting.
GPS.
No, none of that. None of that. So, and
Google
that's
Maps didn't exist.
as an adult, that was the closest I think that I can remember the last time I remember really being lost and having to use a
Yeah.
map per
Yeah.
se. And I gotta be honest, there's a piece of me that values that.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have all the answers in the palm of your hand.
Exactly.
And that's
And
okay. That's a human experience. You should be able to have a point in life where you don't have the answers. That's how everything was figured out, was people had the
Yeah. Sometimes you just made it up.
right.
But that's what I tell people. People will be like, I can't drive in Kansas City. I can't drive in Kansas. I'll get lost. And I'm like, if you get lost, just keep driving.
Yeah, make sure you got a full
Eventually
tank
you'll
when you
get to
go in.
435.
On one side or the other.
Go either way.
Yeah,
You'll end up in North Kansas City.
yeah. You just
Sorry. Like,
I agree.
I mean, just keep driving. You'll see something, you know.
Well, that's one
You'll
thing
see
I
a
learned
road
on.
you know anyway.
So the new bike I got has like GPS and shit.
Oh yeah.
The old bike, nothing. Speedometer. You don't even have a fuel gauge on it. Like you got to
Really?
reset the trimmometer. And everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Why don't you sell that bike?" And I'm like, "Because one, I'm not going to get dick out of it. The other thing is because there's a point of me that when you get so wrapped up in day-to-day life,
Yeah.
you're just like you and I talking about what's our dream vehicle. When we were kids, it was a Lamborghini. It was a sound system, a big motor and transmission, or whatever it was, a Mustang,
Yeah.
power, and all the, the. You remember when the Maybach came out? Everybody was like, "Man, that's amazing! You got reclining
Yeah.
seats in the back and a big motor," and now we're like reaching our mid-30s and early 40s, and we're going.
We're going clear back to the 60s.
Give me a truck that's like got a 12-volt electric system in it, and that's it. You got AM, FM, and one speaker,
Yeah.
and you got a shift at 3 on the tree, and a straight 6. I don't even want the V8.
Right.
I just want a straight 6.
So run forever.
Yeah, and just go. If something
Yeah.
breaks down, you look under it, you go, that's the problem.
Right. You can actually look over there and see something.
Right. And I'll get on that bike and I'll go and I'm like, the wind's in your face, and if it's cold, you put your hands on the heads of the motor, and your gas gauge is non-existent. You're just like 115 miles. I probably ought to pull over and put some gas in. I don't know whether I got 25 or 40 mile a gallon. I don't know. I won't know until I fill it up.
Right. Yeah.
I remember there was this one trip when I think it was that same year I went to Sturgis 2010, whatever, and I was riding across the sand hills, in Nebraska, and there was a storm,
Yeah.
and I had to pull over. Anyways, there was a point where there was 200 miles or so with no gas station.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Like if you didn't have an extra jug, you probably weren't going to make it on a bike. And it threw me back to Easy Riders, and you know that
Right.
that level of. And I think that we're robbed in today's society of that a little bit because we've made everything so simple with our cell phones and
Yeah.
technology and everything else. And yeah, it's convenient, but where's
Right.
that point where you learn to have enough confidence to be?
Yeah.
And at that point,
Just give me your address. I'll get to you.
yeah, yeah.
Not give me directions.
Right.
You know, let me find it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get lost.
Challenge. Maybe I'll have an adventure.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll write a song.
Yeah. God forbid you have an experience.
Experience, a life experience, man. I'll tell you what. And I think that's where the 70s come in because we were finally at that point where people had enough money, they were experiencing life,
Yeah.
they were going out, things were changing. People didn't feel like they had to, and all this music came out of it. And now they're just like remaking the same shit over and over again. Back to
I think
music.
you're right.
Boom! Look at me, full circle. I feel like Barney's now.
Yeah. Right.
Legend.
You're right.
Wait for it. Dairy.
No, you're right. I like that. You better go buy an old truck now.
I've been shopping for a while.
You've been sending me some.
Yeah. Yeah, that 59 I found.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, is I found that 59 Ford for you, and like the next 3 or 4 down, I found a 59 Apache, like I talked about.
Really?
And I was like, ooh, what can I sell to buy that?
Right.
Wonder if this guy would take and trade
Yeah.
a hand job and a $5 bill. I'll iron it before I come.
There's another C.W. McCall.
Mmm.
He's got
Yeah.
that one about the Shelby County Tribune wanted ads, right?
Yeah.
I found that 57 Chevrolet half-ton pickup truck. We'll sell it shop for out of bed $35. The whole story of that song. C.W. McCall, check that
There's a
out.
good one. Yeah.
Convoy. Oh, fuck everything.
Again, I think,
CJ5 and four-wheel drive.
and I think that's part of why the trucking industry was so big back then in CBs.
Yeah.
Because people were, even back then, were craving some sort of simplicity. Get back to simplicity.
Well, and you had a CB in the truck,
Mm-hmm.
and I got one, had one in the Cougar, and I was like, nobody's on these fucking things.
No, they're not anymore. They're
Like,
not.
Jesus.
Like if you see somebody you know, like we went to school with a kid named Daryl.
Yeah.
If I seen him on the road, you know, it'd be like,
He's always got one?
no, I'm sure he does.
All right.
I'm sure. You can't miss him in that purple Peter Eater Peter. You know. See him coming from a mile away, but no, you know, it's just not big. And I think trucking companies took them out because they were worried about distracted driving. And really, it's a tool for communication. Like, hey, there's an accident up here,
Yeah.
you might want to slow down.
Yeah.
Or
Or
people
take
use Google
other
now.
route.
People drop pins on Google, and that's communication. You remember Smoking Bandit where he walks in and he's like, I want two devil's, what was it, 2 devil's burgers and a Dr. Pepper to go. You remember that?
Yeah.
Diablo burgers.
Yeah,
I want
Diablo
2 Diablo burgers and a Dr. Pepper to go, and make them fast. I'm in a hurry. and now, even to this day, if I go somewhere and I get some sort of hot, spicy like food, I'm like, and a Dr. Pepper. I seen a '78 Trans Am online.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't have T-tops, or I would have traded the Challenger straight across for it. Like, give me that. Even had the Rebel license plate flag on the front.
Oh, yeah?
I don't even give a shit. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Fuck it.
Bug it.
Well, that was a time thing.
Mhm. That's an. It was the last. It was the. What's that song? It was in the '90s. It always played on KJ 105 because it was always on at the pool.
Oh,
when
yeah.
we were there in the summer. It
Yeah.
was the end of the Innocence.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
a song.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
forgot who sang that.
Don Henley.
Don Henley. There you
Yeah.
go. Yep. How can I
Yes.
forget Don Henley? I don't know.
I knew when I said it, you were going to be like,
Yeah, of course. Don Henley.
Yeah.
Unmistakable. Into the innocence. And that's
It
true.
is.
I think we were at the end. As much as people are like, oh yeah, this generation, or I feel like I should have been born here and here.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, we lived through the end and the innocence.
Yeah.
People didn't have cameras on doorbells. There wasn't tracking on your phones. There wasn't. We lived through the last.
We were pre-Star 69,
Mhm.
pre-caller ID,
Right.
pre-answer machines.
Right. We've
Man.
seen the evolution of a lot of things.
The
And I'm
phone
sure
rang,
every
if you didn't
generation
answer
does.
it, you just didn't know
Didn't
who it
answer,
was.
yeah. And if you didn't answer it, people didn't know you were home.
Right.
I mean,
Unless they were standing outside your door.
right. And they couldn't call you.
Or
if they were
looking
standing-
across the street.
I was gonna say they'd have
I'm
to be
calling Margaret.
somewhere where they could see you.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
thing.
There was no, yeah.
And I'm sure every generation feels like that to a point. Like we were the last. Of them.
There's always something, I'm
Yeah.
sure, you know.
We didn't have microwaves when we were kids. Blah
But
blah blah.
That's why I feel like we got to be the most interesting generation anyway.
What are we
Because-
exactly? Generation.
We're Zennial,
Fuck, I don't know.
X, and Millennial.
We're
So
right between.
technically millennial, but we're
Because Generation
the end of the X.
Generation X, or
So-
what was it? Generation X was right after the baby boomers, right?
Yeah, it's
Is that
like
correct?
MTV generation and all that, you know, like
We'd have
so
to be right on the
Whatever.
brink of that though,
78 to first.
because you figure if we were born in '82,
Right.
right? So technically, somebody that was born in '64 could have had us.
Yeah, Dad was born in 58.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mom was born in 60. Yeah.
yeah, Mom was born in '59. Ben was born in '64.
Yeah.
My father was what, 49, I guess. So
Really?
yeah, he was old. He was old Paul.
Wow.
He was,
Wow.
yeah, dig down. But you know, when you really think about it, like I said, you know.
Yeah. Well, we grew up pre-technology,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but
When
we
we
got
were born, there wasn't even
technology.
fuel injection around.
Right.
By God.
But we got technology early enough that
That
we
we were able to
learned
watch
how to use it and adapt to it.
Evolution, right? You
And
remember
so
when
we're kinda
Windows
like-
95 was the big thing?
Yeah.
Printers that didn't have the little tear offs on the side.
Yeah.
Our first one or two printers had the little
Yeah.
tear offs. I remember having a paint shop on there, and you had to have a program, and I think it was Ninja Turtles. And all you had to do was like click the color and then click all the
Oh, yeah.
spaces that had that color and print it out. It was
Yeah.
still black.
We used to rent VCRs and a movie.
I remember
Right.
that. Yeah, they come in the vinyl carrying or the
Yeah.
the carrying cases, the little
Yeah.
canvas carrying cases.
We,
Yeah, I
we
remember
couldn't
that.
afford a VCR.
Oh man,
Things were $100.
Ben had one when we moved in. Mom had the TV and Ben had the VCR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
remember
we were
that.
like, damn, we're living
I bet-
high on
I bet
log
they would
now."
be shocked that I remember that.
Oh, I bet.
They'd be like, "How the fuck do you remember who on what?"
We'd rent a VCR from Hy-Vee in a couple movies, right? And then
Hell yeah.
Dad would go get his brother had a VCR.
Uh-huh.
He would go get his and hook them up
Together,
together so we could
record.
dub it off.
Hell yes, I remember. Yes, yes,
I was like, yes, this is great.
good times,
Piracy.
man. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And the TV, how big was the TV?
We had a console TV. back then.
Ooh, look at you, old fancy.
Yeah, had a record player, had an 8-track player.
And the TV, like all connected to the TV?
all connected.
Oh,
It
damn,
was
you
great.
guys were rich.
It was my grandparents' old one.
Old one? Right.
Now, when I was actually a kid, so it was the first TV I remember
Uh-huh.
was a Zenith something. It was just a big tube TV. You know?
Right.
And
That's all we had was two
no
TVs.
remote. I mean, you had to get up and change the channel.
Right.
There was like 12 channels, I think, on the
And
TV.
then there was like
and
3
then we
or
had
4
the,
that AV,
the box
UHF.
on top, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the cable box on top.
Okay, did you have the one with the 2 knobs where it had like
Yeah.
UHF and then it had the actual channels on it above it?
And Dad said, don't fucking touch that thing.
You're right. No, the only time we got to touch it was when we got up to change the channel.
Yeah.
Change it. 1, 2.
My change it was on the top of the cable box. It was just
Yeah.
Went from like 2 to 32, and
Well, see, we lived at the ranch until I was 10, so you're talking like,
so you had probably antenna probably back then.
oh yeah, like we got Channel 2, and if we were really lucky, we might pull in PBS out of like Omaha or some shit. Like that. We didn't get a cable box until we moved into town, and I remember Mom and Ben were kind of going through this phase where they liked auctions, and so they were going to auctions, and they bought a console TV at an auction. And I remember it was this big,
it's like
plastic.
fucking
Oh
heavy.
yeah, it'd take like 2 to 3 dudes to move them. Oh man. And we got a cable box, and we had, I think there was, on the first cable box, there was like 36 channels,
Yeah.
and it was this big, massive.
We only had like 20.
And we thought we were like uptown then,
Right.
and that had to be 92.
Wow.
And so when you think about how much has evolved since then, ooh,
Yeah.
and that's 28 years. That's been 28 years though. 28 years, and now we got flat screens that hang onto our wall. The cords are hidden, and we click on apps that are pre-programmed
Right.
into the TV, and we can watch thousands of movies for $14 a month
$14 a month.
or
Fucking
whatever.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, holy shit.
And we went and got our pictures taken from a professional photographer,
Mhm.
right, this weekend. And got the pictures back, and I was like, I take better pictures with my phone.
Right.
I was like, you paid her how much?
Right.
Okay.
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 As long as you're happy, honey.
And then it showed what pictures I've taken with my phone, you know?
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Well, that's the thing. You remember when Dad used to have the big camera with the different lenses and shit? We had one.
Yeah.
And it had a separate flash you plug in.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, to buy a camera like that is stupid money.
Right.
Stupid.
Thousands.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take any better pictures.
Right.
But you have on your fucking phone. I mean, I'm sure it does,
You get
pixel
the
wise.
zoom and, you know,
Right.
yeah.
But unless you're like really out there trying to, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's I learned more about my father through boxes of pictures than I ever knew about him in real life.
Right.
We just weren't like that. We didn't talk, whatever. So I think about all the pictures I have on my phone, and I'm like, how will my kid ever get these unless I either print them off or what?
Right.
You know, and you and I have talked in private, not on the podcast, but about like mediums to save this stuff on. And it's like, I kind of feel sorry for the next generation.
Yeah.
They just won't have what we had.
Yeah.
You won't go
I miss looking through those pictures. You can
Charlie
take all the
Robinson's
pictures.
photograph.
Yes.
That song.
Speaking of
Charlie
music.
Robinson. There you go, right there, Wade. Charlie Robinson photograph.
Yeah.
You want to really make an impact. We had that. We walked down halls. We walked across cabinets and living rooms full of pictures that
Yeah.
had been whatever in our generation.
Yeah.
We got them on our phone.
It was literally the thing. I mean, you could take, 30 pictures or something, you know, with your camera.
right.
You
Double
don't know
prints.
what they look like until you go print them
Not
off.
a clue. You might get 6 good ones.
Yeah. And you just get
Cross
what
your
you get.
fingers.
Yeah. You don't throw them all away. You just,
Mhm.
you know, oh, well, this one's got a finger in front of it, but yeah, we'll keep it.
Yeah.
You can still see Aunt Edna over here.
Yeah. You can cut it off
Yeah.
or whatever, put it in
Yeah.
a frame.
But
You know, I remember walking
Candid
walking
shots.
around my grandma's house and seeing
Yeah.
pictures that were there for literally, they're probably still hanging in her house. She doesn't live home anymore, but you know, they're probably still hanging in her house. And they've probably been there for 30, 40 years.
yeah,
And you walk by them, and in your mind, you know, you can still see those pictures of those people that we never knew, either
Right.
passed away when we were young or whatever. And you can visually see them. And our
Yeah.
kids won't have that.
yeah. There's a picture of my great grandpa. Speaking of that photograph,
Mhm.
so there's a picture of my great grandpa on my mom's side, and once I got to be like mid-20s, you know,
Mhm.
Grandma looked at this photo and she goes, "That's John." And she goes, "Gina, come here. Who's that look like?" It's
Right.
like, "That's John." Like nobody thought it before, you know.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden it was like, "Oh, there it is."
There it
And
is.
it does. Looking at him, like, Okay, I see it.
I see it. Yeah.
He's got the nose. Yeah, it's like
Uh-huh.
that's me, but thinner version of me.
I-
Looks more like me in high school.
It looks like you before we had an excess of food in America.
Yeah.
And we had to work for a living.
Yeah.
Now
Exactly.
same thing. When my grandma moved, we were going through a lot of her stuff for an auction, and we found pictures from my grandpa's mother
Hmm.
that had been left to him, and she'd never really looked at them. And we're flipping through, and these pictures were from people that lived in, awkwardly enough, in Savannah, where I live now.
Really?
Yeah, and they were taken in like 1888 or 1889. It was before 1890. And there was this one guy that had like a big mustache, you know, which
Right.
was the style back then, like Wyatt Earp style, and hair.
Well,
and
it's
they were
not just a little.
no, it was like it was full bush.
Nice.
And she was like, God, that looks like you. And I was like, you know, granted, he looked like a really drunk, besettled me, but it was still like I was like, yeah. And it's funny how that reincarnation. I'm not saying it, but I'm saying it.
Yeah. Right.
Like, who knows? You know what I'm saying? But I was like, wow, that does look a lot like me.
Hmm.
I thought I would have got a higher wife back then, but I guess not.
You'd think
But-
I'd have tried a little harder.
Right. But there was this point where I was like, and the funny thing is their last name at the time now is a last name that around here is not completely like real great. And I was like, one of them was one of my customers at the time, and I was like, I'm not telling you I might be related to you like
Right.
100 years ago. Not doing it.
Yeah.
No. Dick move. I don't care.
Fuck it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, we had a, speaking of family history, we could probably make an episode
No
20,
shit.
28, you know? We'll do another intro at the end of this so we can start it. But, yeah, a little bit.
Tell me when, because I won't pull out because I have to.
I know you won't. Dirty dog. That's good. Thank you. Yeah. We had a family, like, history booklet made up, you know?
Mhm.
Well, we didn't. I wasn't. I was a kid. But my grandparents had one made up
Mhm.
of, I guess it would have been my grandma's side. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, so we're related to the Hatfields and McCoys. Well,
No shit.
the McCoys. And the
From
Hatfields
the
through
Hatfields
marriage.
McCoys. Which I think
guess.
is, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of that whole thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, we were part of the McCoys, and I was like, so we went to visit some of those areas, and Dad's like, don't tell anybody you're related to anybody, right? You know,
Yeah.
don't tell them what your
You're a
name was.
tourist.
Yeah,
That's it.
and I was like, okay, but I'm walking around, going, what? And you hear, you know, there was a movie on, was it History or Discovery or whatever with
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, of course he was on the Hatfield side, so he was the cool one, right? We're the ones that stole the fucking pig, I guess.
You're
It
the
started
dirty
the whole fucking
hillbillies.
war.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, whatever.
Whatever.
It's still cool.
I've been accused of worse.
Yeah.
At least I wasn't porking it. Porking. Have you ever done that? Porky pig? They were just saying, pig that fucks
Yeah.
pigs. That's what they were
Right.
saying. Porky was actually kind of a stud. So, anyways.
That was it.
That was it.
We're related to the McCoys. And
It's pretty cool, though, when you think about that piece of history.
yeah.
Think about that. You have the Tudors of England, and you got the Hatfields and McCoys of America.
Right.
I mean, there's very little. I mean, how many names are really known out of American history in the last 250 years?
Right. 20. I mean,
If that.
not a lot. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
You got very, totally neglecting presidents.
Right.
Just going out of American history. You got what? Earps,
Yeah.
right? You got the Vanderbilts,
Yeah. Man,
right? I mean,
Kissinger.
Levi Strauss.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Henry Ford. There's some big
Right.
names that came out of America. But when you think about it, Henry Ford, Levi Strauss, Vanderbilts, Herbs, he did a lot. I mean, he did a
Yeah.
lot. And then you've got Hatfields and McCoys. I mean, you've got Vanderbilts, Hatfields and McCoys. It's a pretty wide spectrum there.
But still.
But you're in there. You won't ever hear anybody be like, the Niceleys. How do you spell that?
Right.
Like knife. Because I'm going to stab you in the face.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
You'll
remember this, bitch.
You spell it nicely. Like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. It was like, ask me nicely.
Here's my thing with this, right? I just always wanted to have a catchphrase.
Yeah.
And the only area that I can have that in is after sex. I can be like, "You've just been nicely done."
Yeah. It works.
It works.
But of course, now we're Mackie, not McCoy, so I can't be like, yeah.
I don't know. You could go kind of Scottish vibe with it and be like, "Mac Daddy."
Yeah.
I had a pickup back in high school that we took this Chevy emblem off of and had a Mac Daddy sticker in it. The S10 with the racing stripes.
I never noticed.
Oh yeah, the Chevy emblem was gone out of the grill. And so we just put a sticker that said Mac Daddy
Really?
on it. It was a red oval. It almost looked like a Ford emblem, but it was
okay.
red and it said
Yeah.
Mac Daddy. And
I don't think I ever got a good look at it.
I got photographs of it, like hard paper
Yeah.
photographs.
Matte or glossy?
Glossy. I
Fingerprints.
paid the extra for the double print at Walmart.
Yeah.
And remember when it was like an hour photo was like a big deal?
Oh yeah.
Like an hour photo processing was
An
like
hour?
you had to pay extra for
I'll
it.
give you $100 for this.
Yeah, you had to pay extra for it.
Yeah.
And now it's you take it and you look at it. No, that wasn't good. Let's try again. I'm starting to feel like really fucking old folks saying that.
But so, now this is back to the whole we grew up without it and with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it never fails when we get a whole group of people together and someone wants to take a photo.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be like, take one with my phone too.
Right. Just let me send it to
Just
you.
let me just take one good one and send it to everybody.
Right. Group message people.
Right. And then, there was like, oh, I never thought of that.
It's because they're from the generation of paying for the hour photo.
Right.
The extra for the doubles and the hour photo.
And everyone makes fun of it when I'm like, enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah. There will be a time where you'll take a picture and it will automatically ask if you want to send it to, or it'll automatically send it. You won't even have to. They'll realize
Be careful.
They'll realize whose phone's close, and if they're in your contact list, it'll automatically send
If
it.
they're in the contact list and it sees their face in that photo,
It'll automatically send it. God, that's creepy, isn't it? God, no more dick pics at family picnics, huh? See, this is why I don't drink, because this is what gets fucked up. What? Okay, and you might not have experienced this, but if you've ever been at a family event and you're like texting a girl and it's getting like perverted, like I'm gonna fuck you so hard later, and we have like grandma's face in this picture, bling 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 bling. Can you imagine that? Like Jesus, fuck.
It'll be like when everybody's together and the fucking Amber Alert goes off, and everybody's like, what?
Say what? Oh God. I accidentally
Did you get this from Brent? Did you get this?
I was chewing somebody's ass and it sent that text to somebody else, and I was like, I'm sorry.
I'm the worst at just like pulling up the last message.
Right. No, yeah.
Especially, I always think it's my wife for some reason,
You gotta be careful with that shit. Because if
like,
I send you,
we're drinking hard tonight. And she's like, excuse me?
fuck bitches, get hoes, and you're like, whoa, I didn't mean to send that.
Sorry, that was a song. I wanted you to hold on to that for me.
Could you Google this for me?
Speaking of lyrics, I finally wrote a good song recently.
Oh, yeah?
I singing part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting with Merle.
Yep.
I went through a real dry spell with songs.
I still think you, I, and Josh should have another get together.
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Man,
I'll bring my guitar down.
Maybe I can talk him into coming up for Thanksgiving or something. That'd be a good night.
Yeah.
There'd be turkey involved.
Yeah.
Wild turkey.
That was a good one. We can do it again.
Yeah.
I talked to TJ. I want TJ to be a guest someday.
That'd be nice.
He said he'd bring some Buffalo Trace and something good.
What's Buffalo Trace?
Bourbon.
Oh, I thought that was a weed.
Hey,
I figured he'd go Black Velvet. Didn't
Right.
he used to drink Black
We
Velvet
used to
a lot?
drink Black Velvet a lot.
I remember and that's
it was cheap.
that was that's a throwback.
And it actually was good.
Good.
I mean,
oh yeah, no, totally agree.
You know, for that price. I
Black
was like,
Velvet in my little boy's eyes. Good shit.
Yeah.
How do we, it's funny. I don't know if we're at that age or whether we're just old souls that it seems like a lot of times we go on flashbacks. I hope people value that. Maybe it'll teach you to flashback a little bit too. Or help them flashback maybe a little bit.
Maybe we're just at that age. But I've been
Here I'm
doing it for a
growling.
while.
Sounds like a Drake break now. Any female, please feel free to sit on the speaker. Brittany at Gibson's Garage, please feel free to sit on the speaker while I do this. No, she's all right. She's pretty cool. She takes a joke well. She is married, and actually, this girl. I made the comment one time. I was like, "Man, your eyes." Because you don't see somebody a lot. You talk to them on the phone, you drop the car, whatever. I was like, God, I forget how blue your eyes are because they're not. And I wasn't flirting or anything. It was just that fact that there's some people that are like, there's a quality about them that is withstanding, And she's got super pretty. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm like legally blind. I was like,
really?
Oh yeah. She was, and it's some genetic trait that the pressure in her eyes, whatnot. And as she gets older, And I was like, well, I don't know whether to feel like that was a compliment or I'm just a huge dick right now. Like, your eyes are really blue. Are you blind? Or just albino?
She won't see it. It's okay.
And now all the guys will hear this and they'll probably be laughing at me because I'm telling this story. And like I've got my 3 best friends, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't have a lot of people I'm close with in life. And so the guys down at Gibson's, as much as I deal with them, they're probably as much genuine social interaction as I get. Because at the post office, you don't trust anybody. And at customers, they're just asking you for fuel and giving you a check. These guys down there, I feel like we could throw a keg and all of us could get together and party, right?
Right.
And so when I'm telling them, I'm like, I complimented your secretary. Turns out she's blind. My bad.
We wondered why she was talking to you.
I don't have to worry now that I got a book hanging or anything.
Yeah.
You're gone. Can't
Oh,
see
now
shit.
you wear a mask. That's okay.
Right. Like here's.
But you really notice people's eyes now, right?
Right. And I went into a restaurant and I was like, man, she's cute. And then there's that secondary thought because you've recognized this quality now. Like, fuck, she's gonna take off that mask and she's gonna have like meth teeth. Or a mustache.
Yeah.
Or a cleft palate. Like she's a hair lip or something. Fuck,
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Like, and I ain't gonna judge anybody on their personality for that. I'm just saying I don't want to put my dick in you for that fact.
Could you leave your mask on?
Out of all the disabilities in the world, what do you think you could fuck a girl easiest with? Okay, here's your choices. Cleft palate, because I just brought that one up. She's actually like a little autistic. I feel bad just saying that.
My son's autistic.
Like noticeably autistic.
Okay. Like Down syndrome.
Like Down syndrome. Yeah, autistic. Blind or deaf.
I'm gonna go with blind.
Blind?
Yeah.
Okay, because that would be like a fuck, marry, kill. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you got 4. So
I
there's
mean, the special needs.
you just feel guilty
bad,
about
right?
it. Right. Like even if they're like,
That's taking advantage.
No, I really want this though. I really want to try the dick.
Put that in here.
Meanwhile, they got a Tinker Toy set and they're just like round peg A and a round B or whatever, whole B. That sounds for butt, by the way, because you don't want to make a baby with a retarded girl. God, I'm gonna get letters for this. I hope I get fucking emails for this. bjontheRocks@gmail.com. I gotta say, I would definitely either go blind or deaf.
Deaf is
For the
alright
fuck.
too. I mean,
Oh yeah, because okay, here's the thing. With a deaf girl, she's gonna make funny noises, you're gonna laugh, but she's not gonna hear you.
She's gonna think you're just convulsing because it feels good, right?
Right. And a blind girl will never actually see what it is. Like you can fuck her with a tentacle dildo, and she's never gonna know that it wasn't your dick.
Right.
Your dick.
Your
I just
dick.
want to see that your dick. So I would have to go blind or dumb or deaf. So out of blind or deaf, which would you marry and which would you kill? Blind or deaf? Or excuse me. Yeah, marry. Okay, marry, kill, fuck. Okay, here we go.
Am I
Marry.
only left with the other two?
Marry, kill, fuck. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
You ready? Okay. Blind, deaf, or dumb. Ooh, this is good.
Here's the thing. I don't know how I would give a reason on any of them. I think it would just be multiple choice. Just like roll the dice. I
Right.
guess. I mean, sorry.
Okay.
I'll make it quick either way.
Okay, here's the kicker for me. Do any of them know sign language? Yeah, do any of them know sign language?
Let's go with the deaf one.
No sign language?
No sign language.
But the dumb one, does the dumb one?
does not.
Oh, okay. So the dumb one I would marry. Because I could do horrible I can do horrible dirty things. And no, she can't even sign language at you. If she gets mad, she can't even sign it.
Yeah, exactly.
If she's mad, she's just gonna like throw shit and go to her room. Which is kinda like raising a kid, and I'm okay with that. The fuck I would be oh god, this is horrible.
Right.
Because I don't want to kill the blind girl because she can't mind my tiny penis. So so fuck would be, oh god, this is hard. I made this difficult on myself. Like I asked this question and I don't know.
I figured you must have thought about it already.
Negative
This
Ghost
just came
Rider.
up.
I'm just spitting it out.
That's alright.
I'm spitting it out like a $3 whore. Like it ain't mine. I ain't keeping it. Oh god. So we're between marrying, or we're between fuck and kill, right?
Yeah.
And we've got the blind and deaf.
Yes. Because the deaf one knows sign language.
Okay, the deaf one with sign language we gotta kill. We gotta kill.
Too smart?
Yeah.
What?
Because I can't do horrible, dirty things to her if she can talk about it. The blind one can still talk about it.
You won't hear it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The blind one can still talk, but everybody will be like, are you really sure? Because you didn't see it happen.
Did you see this with your own two eyes?
Yeah. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't?
You just think that's what happened. I mean...
She's like, I got a view on my phone.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's your finger.
You can take a blonde... You can take a blonde blind girl to a gangbang and be like, yeah, that was me. She'd be like, you lasted for 3 minutes and you got increasingly larger. Nope, it was all me. You're welcome. You could be like, she could be like, I wanted chocolate cake, and you could have brought like white cake, and it would have been like, I'm sorry, your taste buds are off. You must have COVID. Like, I love you, baby. I will, but no, yeah, that's not what it is. It's chocolate. You're right. It tastes like apple pie. It's cherry. Are you sure? Yep, it's cherry.
Trust me.
Trust me.
Trust me.
Man, your taste buds are off. You don't remember what this tastes like. Is this really a cucumber? Yo, it sure is. It came with the ranch sauce. Don't worry about it. Your turn. Fuck, marry, kill. Deaf, dumb, or blind? It's a hard one.
I tried. I don't even have any extra questions.
No, no, it is what it is.
Just go with
Same scenario. Deaf one, no
Well,
sign language. Dumb one
okay.
is not.
or the blind one.
Why is that?
Because my wife is legally blind.
Is she really?
She is.
Now I feel like a dick. Now I feel like a
But
dick.
her eyes are round.
But she can drive.
She can drive with correction. Right?
Okay, right.
She takes her glasses off.
I'm gone.
You're blurry as fuck.
Mm.
Right.
So you're saying we could switch places one night?
I don't know. There might be a thickness issue here.
No, my penis is plenty thick. Don't worry. Oh, that's what you were talking about. My bad. Anyways, I'm kidding. Not your wife.
Right.
Completely blind scenario.
The other blind chick that I'm gonna marry.
Yeah, the other blind chick you might
This other one.
fuck, marry, or kill.
The one that's like
Right.
blackness blind or whiteness blind.
Right, like Oprah,
Oh,
blindness
that's-
blind.
I don't know what else you're blind. What do you see when you're blind? I don't know.
Wow.
Nothing. But
Your anus
is it black or is it white?
depends on how much light up.
Is it the absence of color or the presence of all
We'll
color?
never know because they don't know the difference either.
They can't tell.
It's mind blowing.
I guess you
I feel like we
only
should be
tell us if
smoking
you
weed right
were-
now. The answer
If you
is
could see and then you became blind,
would it be light or dark?
but then it would be the same for people that are more blind. I don't know.
What if it's a gray? What if it's like shades of gray? We really need a ball to get this deep. I'm a holy roller.
Right.
I just use a ball.
It's so much easier.
Turn by.
Actually, the pipe is a
what,
lot
what,
easier.
what is that?
No, cross Canadian rag.
Cross Canadian wagweed. Look it
I
up.
wanted to say CCR, but I was like, no, I can't just say CCR.
No, CCR. Yeah. Cross Canadian
Yeah.
ragweed. What's the
Cody
song?
Canada and The Departed.
Right. What's the name of the
But the
song?
name of the song is Boys from Oklahoma.
Boys from Oklahoma. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I was mind blank. You want to listen to One Way?
Yeah.
There you go. Boys from
There's-
Oklahoma, Cross Canadian ragweed.
You can find a live version, which is what's on their album, which I think is they talk about the boys down in Norman.
Right. Norman specifically.
And yeah, and then they're like, oh, we gotta redo this song. They might want to sell a CD down there in Norman. And then there's another live version on YouTube with Cross Canadian Ragweed, or at least Code Canada,
Right.
and Jason Boland,
That's yeah.
Wade Bowen,
Right.
Bo.
Because that's a well-known song.
Yeah, and so everybody does a song, right? But so the idea is the bush from Oklahoma rolling joints all
All
wrong.
wrong. You're right.
Way too skinny and way too long, right?
I ain't no holy roller, so I just use a bone.
Them boys from Oklahoma
Roll their joints all wrong.
But on this live version with Wade Bowen and Jason Boland and all that, they do their own verse.
Right.
Each of them do their own verse. And it's fucking epic.
Hilarious.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. And then they all crash at the end. Yeah. That's a great fucking song. Anyway.
Okay, so fuck, marry, kill.
Sorry.
Because I've got a
Got
piss,
off.
so we got to wrap this
okay.
up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
tying knots in it, and if you've seen
Sorry.
my dick, they're tiny knots.
Sorry. Let me think about it.
Just out just a little bit.
Just put your finger in the dam. Okay, so I'm marrying the blind chick.
Right.
I'm fucking the deaf chick.
Because you just want to hear the funny noises.
That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, I'm just curious. What comes out of that mouth, man? It feels good. Or it doesn't feel good. I don't know. Whatever. And I guess we gotta kill
The dumb chick?
The dumb chick.
Which is coincidentally the dumb chick.
Sorry, dumb chick.
Sorry, dumb chick. You know, it's funny. My son was learning like vowels, and so
Yeah.
I had to teach him the way I was taught, which was there was a deaf woman, and she had to say thank you. It was A-E-I-O-U. Or it was a little deaf boy. That's what it was. A deaf boy, and he was talking to a lady, and she helped him out. And he said A-E-I-O-U. And I taught Jack that, and he was like, okay, I think I got it. A-E-I-O-U. And I'm like, right. Now you can't ever say that at school. You can't ever tell that story at school.
And
Because
sometimes
now
lie.
yeah, and sometimes lie. And because you can't tell your kids that story because now it's considered bullying. Right?
Right. Yeah.
So here's the ironic part. That's how I was taught in school. Is that how you were taught to remember the vowels?
Yeah.
That story?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
yeah.
here we are 30 years later, and it's like, you can't tell that story. I'm like, how else are they supposed to remember?
Well, it's like Indian style.
Oh, yeah.
You can't say Indian style. You
Crisscross
say,
applesauce.
Crisscross applesauce. What the fuck?
Bullshit.
We don't know.
No. No. I was like, we could camp out like a teepee. And he's like, what's a teepee? I'm like,
A wigwam? What's a wigwam?
right.
Are you appropriating a culture, Dad?
And here's the thing. When you think about it, isn't appropriating culture a good thing?
Yes, I would say so.
I mean, because that is ultimately the goal, right? Is making everybody a culture of one.
Yeah, especially in this country.
As long as you're not stealing a minority's hairstyle.
Right.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You want us all to get along and agree. Be a persons of one. A citizen of the world.
Right.
But you can't take my hairstyle.
But you can't take my hairstyle.
Tom Selleck would be very pissed about his mustache, is all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
I just want Tom Selleck to be like, you're appropriating my mustache.
You're a
Fuck all you
appropriating Tom
people.
Selleck.
Right? I'm white and hairy. You can't take my style.
Right.
Fuck. Anyways, are we about to wrap it up? Because I've really got to piss.
I think we got 2 out of this one.
Well, we might have got 2. That's fine with me. Episode
So-
1, episode 2.
I'm gonna do a quick intro for.
That's fine.
episode
Can I do a quick
28.
intro?
Yeah, for
Okay.
episode 28.
Or episode 28?
Yeah.
Okay, you can just break it when we
Okay.
start arguing about who gets to do it.
Yeah.
And say, you ready for this?
Episode 28. Yep.
WNBC.
I know.
BJ on the Rocks would like to present to you episode 28.
I'm not sure they can hear it over there.
Cue music. B&J on the Rocks would like to present to you live in living color from the episode
Ooh,
28.
in living color.
I ain't got the
Living
voice.
color, man.
Yeah, in living color.
Wow. Yeah, if you don't check out in living color.
Yeah, if you don't listen to us, you're not white. Or black or
Or
Asian.
black or Asian.
We don't care. We love you
Or
all.
deaf or dumb or
I'll
stupid.
fuck anything if it's alive. And sometimes if it's just
Sometimes
recently.
it's just it was still a little warm.
Thanks for coming, so did I.
Yeah. Alright. Y'all have a good night.
Take care.
Yeah.